Now we are coming on to a very relevant topic, a very important topic, and rather I would say the heart and soul of a class. What it is? It is implementation of creative and innovative teaching strategies in order to meet students' individual needs. How I present my content being backed by all the tools, techniques, knowledge and everything, that makes a difference. Traditional form of teaching is undergoing a paradigm shift. The focus is on evolving techniques which maximize grasping and learning. Gone are the days when teaching used to be like going into a class, delivering something and period. How much student has grasped, how much he has learned, all was left to be assessed during exams. No, the assessment has to be instantaneous. Some of the techniques which are popularly used especially for science and technology students are the ones I am going to discuss now. Again, some of them might sound very technical to you, and I have deliberately added a pinch of salt into this content, so that I make you think onto those lines, that what are these things. So, again this is a specific type of delivery, it is a specific technique, I will name it further, think of it, I can do remember this thing. Well, coming on to the technique, teach with VAK. Now, you must be wondering what is VAK, it is visual, audio and kinesthetics. Create mind maps. Now, what are mind maps? Mind maps help to explain concepts in an innovative manner. Use of VAK and mind mapping helps in learning and remembering more efficiently by making use of the full range of visual and sensory tools at our disposal. You know, if you look at an image, you are able to grasp it better. The more the number of senses you involve in your experience, the more you learn. Make learning experiential, in the sense include your senses into it, visuals, see something, hear something, touch something, feel something. The more such components you include into your teaching, better is going to be the learning. It helps in recollecting information for long time and boosts the learning harmony. Various free tools are available online which can be used for effective teaching. For example, if I am talking about mind maps, we have mind mapping, a wonderful tool, light mind, simple mind, all these most of these are freeware, experiment with them. You know, teaching through multimedia has been outdated now, everybody is doing it. I go into a class, take a PowerPoint, play it, it becomes so monotonous. We talked about smart classrooms. Most of the schools, they went into the mad rush, but as a student I have seen my son be a part of a smart classroom, and there have been instances when delivered with all these combinations it worked really well, but there are other instances where they are simple vanilla flavor, very belt. That should not happen. Simple audio and video, if not supported by proper tools or supplemented by proper tools, they might not give the results which we actually expect out of them. Another important idea about teaching with visual, audio and kinesthetics is that they are participative in nature. As a student, as a teacher, we all are contributing to a common cause, and that makes our learning very efficient. Let us come on to the next technique. It is known as appetizer and desire strategy. To create anticipation and enthusiasm about the curriculum, so that the student can hold on their sincere attention and develop a strong desire to keenly wait for the next topic. If you remember, this is what I did when I said that I am going to talk more about it or similar thing. What I did was I gave you the appetizer, isn't it? So, such techniques are very important, appetizer and desire strategy. At the end of the class, simply tell them there is one wonderful innovation that took place yesterday. I think you must have seen in the newspaper, we will talk about it in the next class. You have given food for thought to the student, you have ignited their thought process, you have ignited their curiosity, and it is a wonderful technique and it delivers wonderful results. Do try that. A very popular thing that is happening these days is flipped classroom, inventing your class. The method of flipped classroom or flipped learning is a blended learning and shifts instructions to a learner centered model. In this method, the conventional classroom based learning is inverted and the new class now involves introduction of learning material before the class, and it could be via all forms of learning: oral, visual, listening, hands on, problem solving, etc. What we do is, we intend to engage the learners to learn things in an innovative way both inside and outside the classroom using various teaching tools. It is an application based approach and it involves hands on and problem solving activities. So, before I go into the class, I give them or give my pupil an introductory video, that this is a technique and this technique is used in lot many problem solving areas. So, this is the technique I have talked about, and in my next class I will talk about the application areas. To go further on to it, I will ask my students, okay, think of few application areas of this technology. So, this is the concept of flipped learning. Before you go into the class, generate curiosity, make the students read about it, make them inquisitive about it, and these techniques are becoming very popular and they are coming out with wonderful results. So, there is one thing which I will definitely advise you, do experiments with flipped classroom. A very popular concept that is emerging these days, thanks to my subject, that is information technology and computers, that is gamification. Now, what is gamification? Gamification means using game based mechanism, aesthetics and game thinking to engage people, motivate action, promote learning and solve problems. Gamification is the use of game metaphors, game elements and ideas in a context different from that of the games in order to increase motivation and commitment and to influence user behavior. We are living in an era, or rather we say that this is a mobile generation. These students learn more when you teach them in the applications which they are comfortable with on the mobiles or the laptops. This is gamification. Using game mechanics improves motivation and learning in formal and informal conditions. Gamification is an integration of game elements and game thinking in activities that are not games. Again, I am repeating it. The reason is that you are not making them play a game, but you are teaching them something with the help of a game. The use of game mechanics improves the ability to learn skill by 40%. This is what researchers have found out. Gamification affects students' behavior, commitment, motivation and it all leads to improvement of knowledge and skill. So, this is another very wonderful area of content delivery into the classroom. So, do experiment onto it. There are lot many tools available in the market, these are all freeware, go and search on the internet a gamification of a given concept, they will help you do that. So, this is one area wherein we need to grow as a teacher, we need to learn the things which our students are comfortable with. And in fact, the development of an effective strategy for the implementation of gamification in e-learning implies lot many things. Specific and clearly defined learning objectives, you must be very clear what I am trying to teach, what is that which I want to be conveyed to my student, I should be clear about it. The educational content should be interactive, engaging and rich in multimedia elements. What content I am giving to the developer, again they can do the technical part, but ultimately the content has to be given by me as a teacher. A depth analysis of existing conditions and available software tools is very helpful. That will help you prepare for gamification of a given concept. And again, it is not for a course, all these techniques I am talking about, they vary from topic to topic. So, if I am offering a course, maybe I am using all these techniques in some stage of that course. The predisposition of the students to interact with the learning content and to participate in learning events and competitive nature is again very important. Again, to establish and take in mind what skills are required to achieve the objectives, that again has to be known. Students' motivation to participate in training also depends on the context of learning process and what follows from their achievements. That is why gamification is not simply animation of a concept, it is not animation, it is gamification, because you are adding lot many components into it, stages, challenges and likewise. The training activities should be developed tailored to the learning objectives and allows for lot many things, like it allows for multiple performances, it allows for feasibility, like people should be able to actually go up to that level. If I adopted a difficulty level that is so high and that most of them are not able to achieve it, it is not feasible. Increasing difficulty level, if I perform something, okay, the next activity or the next set of tasks would be more challenging or the complexity level would be higher, the way we have in video games, multiple paths. In order to develop diverse skills in learners, they need to be able to reach the objectives by various paths. This allows students to build their own strategies, which is one of the key characteristics of the active learning. That is what I said, do not give them a well defined or predefined path, let them find their own path. This is the innovation which they are going to do. Social media is becoming very popular, use it as a teacher. Social media can be used as a platform to disseminate knowledge amongst the masses as well as classes, and it is the cheapest, most easily accessible and affordable mode. Free online tools are available to make students aware about different online tools which are free to use, easily accessible and content worthy. That again is a challenge for a teacher. Another very important or popular technique is design thinking. We also call it as a case method. Now, what is this case method? I try to call it as a experiential learning. Now, what is experience? You get into a situation, you have multiple options or decision paths in that. So, based on the available alternatives, you select one of the alternatives. Based on the alternatives, you face the consequences, and based on the consequences, you record the experience, what happened to you. I will give you a very simple example, like it is cloudy outside. So, I am moving out of my house, I do not carry an umbrella. I move out, it rains, I get wet, I fall ill. So, next time I remember this, that it was cloudy, I moved out, I did not carry an umbrella, I got wet and I caught fever. Next time it is cloudy, I am moving out of the house, I carry an umbrella. It rains, I do not open my umbrella, I get wet, I fall sick. Again, I have experienced, I have witnessed the consequences of my decision. Next time again it is cloudy, I am moving out of the house, I carry an umbrella, it rains, I open the umbrella, I do not get wet, I do not fall sick. I have learned that if it is cloudy, move out with an umbrella, and if you are having an umbrella, open it. So, I have learned through my experience. So, this form of or this case based learning, it is tried in other forms of classroom delivery also. We have multiple stages to it. We call the stages empathy, learning about the audience for whom you are designing, that is empathy, you are thinking about others. You actually are redefining and focusing your question based on your insights from the empathy stage. So, you are defining based on your concept or design, you ideate, you create an idea, you create an impression, you create a thought process, you create a principle. This ideation is converted into a working prototype. If I talk about ideation to prototype, I am building a representation of one or more of your ideas to show to others, that this was my ideation, this is how I present it to others, and this prototype is tested. This test is again taken to design thinking level, I implement it, and this is done iteratively, and finally you come across a solution which is the best solution, or which is something teaching me to face consequences, or you do not actually come to any conclusion. What you have done is you have got experiential learning, you have got into situations, you have reacted to the situations, and you have seen the consequences, and all this was simulated. So, next time when you face the same in the real world situation, you have you are well prepared to take a specific decision onto that. So, this type of teaching was known as your case based teaching or design thinking. We have real world learning. I remember a very popular quote by Confucius. He said that I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. Effective learning involves learning strategies which can be implemented through real world learning. Make your students practice, do not make them theoretical genius, but practical fools. Cooperative learning, encourage learners with different abilities to work together on a common topic using various online tools, strategies, etc. Verbal expression of their ideas and response to others help develop self confidence as well as enhance their communication and critical thinking ability, and it makes them grow as good team learners. So, competitive learning is again a very important form of learning, especially in today's time wherein everybody is running after a cutthroat competition. Make them learn to work as a team. Creative teaching, inquiry based learning, student centered and student directed. This is what I will label them as. Encouraging students to ask thought provoking questions, investigate their own ideas, help improve their problem solving skills, make them think aloud, give them a platform wherein they can go for deeper understanding of academic concepts. The exploratory behavior, brainstorming activities and creative mindset would keep the motivational urge to learn higher and to make them more independent learners. So, these are the different approaches we can adopt for content delivery to the students. Again, it was a very wholesome list, but it was not complete in any sense. It was just a fraction of all different types of approaches, but what I have tried is I have projected the few popular techniques which are being used these days. So, definitely these techniques will help you decide upon your way of delivery, and I am sure you will come out with flying colors. Now, I am coming to the next topic, that is tracking the students' progress and rewarding. Fundamental law of science says that every system left to itself moves towards disorder. Same applies to teaching and learning also. Despite doing all the good things, probability exists that disruption and deviation from basic objectives will occur. Hence, the component of progress tracking through evaluation is deployed. And now mark my words, I am making a very important statement. The idea is to control things before they move out of hand, and the objective of these progress tracking mechanisms is not to judge a student, but to judge the efficacy of the methods deployed. Mark my words, I am not judging a student. I talked about this in the earlier technique also. I am saying that we are judging the efficacy of the delivery method. Different types of assessment, like encouraging students into developing, let us say, e-content, oral performance evaluation, formative and summative assignments, creating games, quizzes, practical applicability of the subjects, etc. All this can be used to track the impact of the teaching, learning process and the absorption of the concepts by the students. Proper interpretation of these assessments is equally important. There lies your role as a teacher. These are simply the indicators, what you achieve out of a summative assignment or by creating a game or the outcome of a quiz. They are simple indicators. It is your role as a teacher to derive the meaning out of those indicators. And also the metacognition training and self assignments of student during teaching is a necessary aspect which should not be overlooked. That was one part of it. Along with assessment, motivation and encouragement can be maintained and boosted up by rewarding the learners for their achievements. Rewards can be in the form of a simple pat on back to a more materialistic form, like some form of certification or appreciation or specific authority and position in classroom. Okay, now you are the class representative, you are the group leader. As a teacher, you are the best judge, period. Last but not the least, be a passionate learner and a teacher. Albert Einstein has quoted, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." Effective teachers are constantly learning. Don't let the child and the student in you die. I said this in the very beginning of my session. Develop the ability to continuously acquire new and better form of knowledge. Be passionate to learn new things and apply it to teaching. Apart from being a teacher, be a friend, be a critic, be a motivator, be a teaser, be a hero for your pupil, and this would be your best ashish or blessing for your wonderful students. Thank you for participating into my session. Thank you very much.